Hello everyone, and welcome to my Sundome review. This manga has actually been requested by someone in the comments. This comment right here, and yeah, I looked it up and I found it somewhere, and I got all of it. I managed to get a lot of it second hand, only missing volume 5 at that moment, so I ended up buying volume 5. And I recently finished it, so I believe it was yesterday or a few days ago. Here we have a review of Sundome, which is one of the most unique manga I've read so far, I would say. So let's get the books in front of us right now. So I have a nice representation of what it looks like. Here is volume 1. I hope I can show you all this because I don't even know. Volume 2. Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, Volume 6, Volume 7, and Volume 8. Now, you might be thinking, manga reader, what the hell have you been reading? And that's exactly what I thought when I started reading this series, because there's really not that much to the story, because the title actually sums it up. So if you're Japanese, you already know what this means. If you're not, let's read it together. It's in the... Sundome literally means stopping the moment before, and considering the content of the story, it refers to being stopped just before coming home. US. Anyway, it's a really weird story about a boy, which is the main protagonist. He is in part of this club, and then this new girl comes into the club. She's very popular, and the club is about spotting UFOs and things like that. And this guy, this main protagonist, is kind of into her. It's basically about the main protagonist and the girl, and the main protagonist enjoys the girl teasing him in all sorts of ways and challenging him to not say it probably. So let's just get right into the review. Like I said, let's get these books out. Except for volume 1, which we'll be focusing on, with the naughtiest cover of them all. Anyway, so let's get to our space grading system. Now, if you don't know what that is, card right up there to a video that explains it in detail. Now, let's get to the first category, which is S, the first letter of space, and it stands for story. Now, this is actually one of the hardest manga to rate when it comes to the story, because there isn't really any story. To me, there isn't really an interesting story around this manga. So for story, I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Let's get to the P, which stands for paper quality or physical quality, whatever you want to say. And let's have a look at it. This is the front. This is the spine, and here's the back. Now, this is also one of the categories which Sundome doesn't really score well, in my opinion, because there's a lot of white, a lot of it, and which means that it will discolor very quickly. Even the covers, even the spines, mine have already discolored. I mean, they were second hand, but still, most of them were even still wrapped, and they still discolored, so he probably didn't keep them out of the sun. I get that, but there's a lot of white, and this is not even the whitest cover. This is probably one with the most text on it, because if you look at volume 5, there's like 20% cover and the rest is white. It's like they run out of print or something. Volume 3 as well, look at this. This is all picture, the rest is this like a novel, like a cover novel or something like that. So if you like your nice covers or your nice, well, the spines I guess are pretty good, but the cover isn't really that great. Now let's get to the inside of the book. it always starts with a colored page, which is nice, and then with this, the contents. Now there's a big problem with this manga in my opinion. Not so much if you're reading online, but then again, if you're reading online, then honestly, what are you doing? Support the industry, please. Anyway, you can see this already on the first page. There's quite a bit of gutter loss. You'll have to turn the page to read some of these manga, and this occurs a lot of time. Like, this is a random page I just flipped open. Would you look at that? That is not almost unreadable. Like, look at this. This is not fun reading, and if you have to do this all the time, then your manga, the spine will crease and it will get damaged. This is not how you want to keep your manga in nice condition. So, for the physical quality, also a 5 out of 10, because the paper doesn't really... The paper is average... Oh, that page. I'll give it a 5 out of 10 because the paper is average. There's not really much on the covers, and yeah, it's really not that great. Especially the gutter loss kills it for me, because that makes it almost unreadable. 5 out of 10 for paper quality. Now we get to the A, which stands for art. Now, if you like your ecchi, then this is right up your alley when it comes to art, because it's very detailed and it looks pleasing. Also, the emotions in this manga are so beautifully... Like, this is one of the great parts of this manga. The emotions and the faces are so exaggerated, which makes it so funny. Like, look at that face. Look at this face. So this is one part. The art itself is not that amazing. Like, well, not one of the best I've seen. But it just really fits the story. So when it gets intimate, it looks very intimate. And just the facial expressions are amazing. So, I mean, look at this. So, yeah, facial expressions. The art is pretty good. I'll give that a 7 out of 10. Now we get to the C for character. Well. So there's these main characters in the club, which is her. She is the other main character. She's very intimate. She likes to toy with boys, if you know what I'm saying. And then you have this guy over here, the main character, which really likes being toyed with by her, of course. Then, ooh, Jesus Christus. She likes to show off her bosoms, I suppose. Alright? I really need to cut my nails, by the way, my god. Then you have this guy, which is a pervert, really likes to make photos of girls. And he has a really weird complex with his doll. Over here, which is the weakest guy of the group when it comes to physical strength. And he corrects her on her English because she doesn't know sayings whatsoever. So he corrects her all the time. He's a funny guy though, I'll give him that. And then you have this guy, which has a really big affection for assholes. I can't say it anything else. Like, that's just how it is. He makes puns about assholes, he just looks at them and he does weird things with them. So that is him right there. Those were all of the main characters in this manga. They are interesting. It's mainly about the humor, honestly. There's not really that much to them. But they have great humor and they distinguish themselves really well. So I'll give that a 7 out of 10. Now, let's get to the last category, which is E, which is the most important one, enjoyability. If you don't enjoy reading the manga, then there's no point in buying it. Even though the art and the story is great or whatever, enjoyability is most important. And that's where this manga shines, because just the amount of ecchi, you do need to like it. If you don't like ecchi, then this is definitely not for you. The amount of ecchi and the humor, mainly the humor and the facial expressions, it just makes it so enjoyable to read. Like, this is one of the most enjoyable manga I've ever read. Like, maybe it doesn't score well on physical quality or on or on the story, because it doesn't really have that much of a story. But the enjoyability is so great. There's so many plot twists and funny parts. It's just you'll laugh out loud from this manga. I'll guarantee you that. Now we get to the final score, which is, and the final score it gets is a bronze award. This is my first bronze award on my channel. I will need to clarify this. This is not the best reward I have. But it doesn't mean that the manga is not worth buying. It just means that there's better manga out there, and this is not really fit for most people, which it definitely isn't. Because you really need to love your ecchi, or your almost hentai, if you know what I'm saying. Or you need to really be into humor and allow that etchiness. Because otherwise you just won't like this. There's not much of a story to it. The art, other than the great facial expressions, isn't that great either. And the paper is just awful. The worst I've seen yet. But other than that, would I say it's worth buying? Like I said, if you like your ecchi, your almost hentai. Actually, I would just say it's a complete hentai, to be honest. But yeah, if you like that, then it's worth buying. If you're not that, then don't buy it. As simple as that. Now this concludes my review for Sundome. If you like this video, please leave a like and please subscribe. I hope my manga gets delivered soon so I can do my manga haul video, which you all really like. They really do well on my channel, which is great to see. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.